Welcome to Flawless Shoe Reviews. This is the Asics Gel Nimbus 27 and this is the Gel Kayano 31. Two of the most popular shoes within the Asics range, but they're designed for completely different purposes. I'm going to break down these purposes in the video and I'm going to touch on how these shoes can influence medical conditions as well. So if we start off with the Gel Nimbus 27, we've got a new engineered mesh on top with a slightly wider fit in the normal version of the shoe, so it accommodates a slightly wider toe box. It's also available in a wide and an extra wide version. It's a true to size and length, so it covers all different types of foot shapes. Then as we move up the shoe, we've got a thin gusseted tongue, which means that it's stitched in so it doesn't slip from side to side. We've got some padding around the inner aspect of the heel cup and a nice pull-on tab on the outer aspect. It's got a moderately stiff heel counter. Now heel counters, if they're stiff, they cradle your heel and your ankle joint to try and provide stability when you initiate contact with the ground, helping to control those pronation forces. So overall, it's got an excellent fit on top, a really good lockdown. Your foot slips in there and it just sucks it in there, keeps it in place, and it accommodates different fits in the forefoot. Then in the Gel Kayano, we've got a slightly wider forefoot in the normal version, also coming in a wide and extra wide version. It's got a true to size and length, it's got a slightly more padded gusseted tongue on top, and it's got a similar heel cup, but it's a little bit stiffer around the heel counter. So for those of you who have a sensitive heel like Haglund's deformity or insertional Achilles tendonitis, you might not enjoy the extra elements of compression that you get in the Kayano. However, being stiffer, it does provide more elements of stability and helps with a nice snug fit around your ankle. Then as we move down the shoe, that's where there's wholesale changes in the two shoes. So we've got the FF Blast Plus cushioning in the Gel Kayano 31. It's got a pure gel heel cup around the heel, which is just adds extra elements of comfort. But then we have the 4D guidance system. So you can see this little tab that sits on the inside of the shoe underneath the arch. You'll feel this inside the shoe pressing up into the arch to add extra elements of comfort and support. It's really useful for helping to control pronation forces, so it's denser than the cushioning that sits on top of it. When you walk or when you run, as your foot moves inward, if it excessively pronates or you struggle to control those pronation forces, the denser cushioning provides resistance to it, pushing it back out again. Then as we move up towards the forefoot, we have a broad base of support and we have some nice sole flare that helps keep your foot centered in the shoe, providing nice guidance throughout the shoe as you move throughout the gait cycle. Has some big sidewalls on the inside and on the outside of the shoe around the heel. Again, adds extra elements of stability, cradling your foot, helping to control its motion on top of the midsole. So what you get with the Gel Kayano is a max cushion, max stability shoe. Then when we look at the Nimbus 27, we have some similar elements in terms of we've got the FF Blast Plus cushioning. We've also got some milder sidewalls on the outside and on the inside of the shoe around the heel, broad base support, and we have some sole flare, but it doesn't have that 4D tab underneath the arch of the foot. It's not as rigid, remember, around the heel counter, so it's what we classify as a stable neutral shoe rather than a classic stability shoe in the Gel Kayano. Then in terms of their use cases, well, they tend to have two different purposes. One, they're max cushion shoes, so they're exceptionally good if you want to use them as a lifestyle shoe for walking around for day-to-day activities, or if you have a job where you stand on your feet all day. These can do a great job of providing support and comfort for those purposes. When it comes to running, both of them are really good for recovery runs, easy runs and long runs. Where they differ slightly is when you want to do some faster work. So you have a heavier shoe in the Gel Kayano, coming in around 311 grams, which is about 4 grams heavier than the Nimbus in a size 9 men's US. You've got slightly different variation in the stack height. So in the Gel Nimbus, we've 43.5 in the rear foot, 35.5 in the forefoot, giving you an 8mm drop. We've got a higher drop in the Kayano, which is 10mm, looking at 40mm in the rear foot, 30mm in the forefoot. So as a result, when we look at the up-tempo running, the Nimbus tends to transition a little bit quicker. It's not as soft underfoot as what we get in the Kayano. So with the Kayano, you sink into the shoe. It doesn't have as much responsiveness, so it doesn't spring you back out of there when you're trying to go a little bit faster on your runs. We've got a little bit of a quicker transition, a little bit firmer of a cushioning in the Gel Nimbus. When you're walking, it feels super soft, really comfortable, cloud-like, but when you're running at a faster pace, it does give you a little bit of feedback, that little little bit of bounce back. So you can use it for some early up-tempo workouts, whereas you might find the Kayano is just a little bit too heavy for that. If you're looking for an alternative that has some stability in the Asics range, you might look at the Asics GT2000, or if you're looking at a faster shoe, then you might look at something like the Hoka Rahi 7 that also provides some nice elements of stability. So we've got a stable neutral shoe that you can do long easy runs but a little bit more up tempo in the Nimbus. We've got a max cushion, max stability shoe for longer runs, standing or walking all day in the Gel Kayano. Got links to the two of them in the description if you'd like to pick them up. It helps fund the channel without affecting the price that you pay. If you've got any questions on the shoes or any shoes that you have, drop them in the comment section. I'll try and get back to you. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, liking, sharing, subscribing, always appreciated.